If you don't know who Sam Sulek is, you've probably been living under a rock for the last year. He's on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, you name it, anything to do with fitness, you're probably going to see his face pop up at some point. Now, one of the things that Sam Sulek is known for is his extreme diet practices. Now, I haven't seen all of these clips, I've just found the top ranking ones and saved them, but we're going to react to those today and see if there actually is any scientific basis to what he's saying and what he's doing. So without further ado, let's get straight into it.
In the milk jug.
I think I've seen him do this before. If he chugs this whole thing.
240 grams of carbs.
Is that chocolate milk?
Protein. So I'll just drink this on the way home.
He was saying the macros there, and actually the macros on chocolate milk aren't that bad.
Milk. It's clearly empty. It's been about hours.
Yeah, he chugged it. Great. I mean, obviously that's excessive because it's a huge amount of chocolate milk. And for most people who consume that, that's probably going to cause you a lot of stomach issues. But actually at one point, and to some extent still now, chocolate milk is actually considered an okay sports performance drink, especially when it comes to recovery. Now, the type of exercise that Sam's doing probably doesn't need this to the extent that, let's say, like an elite endurance athlete does. But for those people, chocolate milk isn't half bad. The type of carbs that are found in chocolate milk, they're going to get into your system pretty quickly, which is actually what you want after exercising. So to some extent, chocolate milk for a post-workout isn't a terrible idea, but that amount probably is, mostly for the fact that it's going to cause you some stomach discomfort. But for recovery, gets a mark for that. Okay, let's check out this next clip. Sam Sulek breakfast.
So even though there's only 4 eggs, I'm just supplementing with egg whites. It's perfect.
Okay, so he's going with the eggs plus the egg whites. I wonder how many egg whites he puts in. I mean, 4 eggs is quite a lot anyway, but actually for a guy of his size, it's probably about right. It's not going to do any harm. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if he put that whole carton in his pan here. Yeah, that's quite a lot. I mean, what's that, like half, a third? It's such a typical bodybuilder breakfast, right? It's eggs and oats. The nutrients are going to be found in a high concentration in that egg yolk. You're also going to get more of your calories in that egg yolk, pound for pound, compared to your egg whites. So I don't know why he's doing it here. I mean, I presume he's bulking right now. He may be cutting. That's kind of the main reason you would add in egg whites as well as eggs, is if you want more protein, but you don't necessarily want the calories. But if you're bulking, there's really no need to. You just go for the whole eggs, really. And if you are bulking, definitely don't go out and buy egg whites, because those are more expensive and you're missing out on a lot of the nutrients, the calories, for what? I think I picked a couple of these because he gives a bit of advice as well, so it'd be interesting to hear what he says.
Why would I eat this instead of just drinking a protein shake? You know, I don't.
He's got a point on the convenience.
There's obviously a difference in the foods. Like, I'd rather eat like a steak, or I'd rather have like red meat protein, or fish, eggs, whatever.
I mean, he obviously prioritizes real
shake,
food, which is good. He's obviously touched on the fact that protein shakes are more convenient. Not only are they more convenient than certain animal sources of protein, but they're also just as easily absorbed, if not better absorbed, and used by the body. They contain all of the essential amino acids. So in terms of helping us reach our protein goals and promoting muscle protein synthesis, a protein shake is going to be absolutely fine. Okay, let's see the next one.
Food's food. I'm looking at a...
Food is food.
Looking at a Wendy's chicken.
Okay, we might have something here.
Right? But through my eyes, like, pretend to... You get what I'm saying? 50 grams of carbs.
So he's saying about the macros. I agree with him to a certain extent. Now, obviously, the argument here would be there aren't a lot of micronutrients in this. It's not a massive concern if you're bulking and you have a relatively well-rounded diet. But again, if you're in a calorie deficit, you're not eating much, and you choose this as your protein source, that's where I would disagree with him saying food is food. Because this is not going to give you anywhere near the nutrients as a chicken breast, some rice, and some veggies, even though it might have the same amount of carbs, same amount of protein in. Performance-wise, body composition-wise, though, it's difficult to argue with him to a certain extent. Calories are calories and macronutrients are macronutrients. Sam is wiser than I thought. He's coming out with some good stuff. That's no criticism of him, by the way. Never judge a book by its cover. Okay, next one.
I've always kind of been under the idea that taking a multivitamin is at least approaching a level of equivalency to getting a very well-balanced diet.
So I'm actually shocked he takes a multivitamin, because he's consuming so many calories. He's getting in so much milk that's probably fortified with copious amounts of vitamins and minerals. Chances are he's probably not deficient in anything enough to warrant a multivitamin. There's questionable evidence as to whether a multivitamin actually does anything. I think long-term studies have shown that it's probably not having much of an effect on your health. He mentions things like potassium here, and yes, there's a chance that he might be deficient in certain minerals, certain vitamins. For example, let's take vitamin D. There's a milk jug there. The amount of vitamin D that's in that milk jug on the counter there is probably 10 times the amount that's in his multivitamin that he takes. So there are certain vitamins that he just doesn't need to cover his bases on. Okay, next one up.
This might just be because I'm still a college student, but...
8 eggs and 2 instant noodles for breakfast. I think this is breakfast.
100 grams of carbs.
So for these guys, I mean, they really don't care about the amount of fat they're consuming, which if you're trying to get calories in is fair enough. Consuming a high amount of fat with protein probably isn't advised. Things like post-workout, it's going to ultimately slow down that protein absorption slightly, but I don't know if that's going to be enough to have a long-term effect on your physique. I probably doubt it. Pretty decent amount of salt in those instant noodles as well. Obviously that's a couple of servings there. Add in the eggs. If he then seasons those eggs, I mean, yeah, it's probably not going to surprise you that this wouldn't really be considered too healthy. But you know, sometimes needs must. This guy's obviously a pro bodybuilder or aspiring to be a pro bodybuilder, but he's obviously got serious physique goals. These people don't eat like normal people. They're not trying to be like me and you. And when you've got to consume that many calories, it's not possible to do that through natural food alone. Okay, last one up.
Calories are calories. That's pretty much always been my approach to it. Just because if you don't eat enough, you're not going to gain any weight.
Calories are calories.
If eating too much, you'll never lose weight.
The calories are calories argument, I pretty much agree with mostly. I think most people stress too much about the macronutrient profile of their diet when they're trying to either lose weight or gain weight, when ultimately that's dictated by the amount of calories that they consume. So that should be the main focus. The macronutrients do come into it and they will dictate somewhat how you react to that calorie surplus or calorie deficit, but ultimately they are a bit of an afterthought when it comes to either weight loss or weight gain. There's a lot of people I know, including myself, when I was skinnier, would focus so much on the amount of protein I was consuming and trying to hit my macronutrient targets that I forgot to just eat a lot of food. And that was ultimately what I needed to do to put on weight. I just didn't know it at the time because there was so much rubbish advice out there. So again, I think he's speaking wisdom here. I don't mean to sound so shocked, but yeah, it's better than I thought it would be. So thanks for watching, everyone. If there are more videos of Sam's or of other fitness influencers out there you want me to have a little look at and review, we'll throw some science at it and see if it's any good. Hopefully you enjoy these videos, guys, and as always, hit subscribe. I will see you in the next video.